What's going on, guys? My name is Wade with TechDaily, and in this video, we are checking out the brand new iPhone 17 Pro. Now, I'll be honest, it's been a few years since the new iPhone has actually been new. But this year, we get an all-new design, plenty of new features, and even a new, pretty wild color option here that finally makes this iPhone truly new. Now, I'm of course going to fill you in on everything you need to know, but first things first, let's just go ahead and unbox it, and I'll quickly show you what comes inside the package. So, sliding off the lid, the first thing you're greeted by is the phone itself. And here it is, the all-new cosmic orange color that's exclusive to the Pro iPhones this year. And in person, yes, it is very, very orange. Setting that aside for just a second, the only other couple of things still included are 2 sheets of paper, one telling you all about eSIM, and the other just some legal info. No Apple stickers anymore, unfortunately, or anything else. And then the very nice nylon braided USB-C cable, which I do appreciate. So with all that stuff out of the way now, let's get back to this brightly colored iPhone 17 Pro. The first thing I want to touch on is price. This, regular iPhone 17 Pro starts at $1,099, but that's for the 256GB storage option this year. Apple has officially ditched that 128GB option, which is great. The Pro Max is $1,199, and you can of course get more storage on each, all the way up to now 2TB on the Pro Max. And as far as the colors, if Cosmic Orange is too much for you, there's only 2 other choices this year: deep blue and a plain old silver. Size-wise, this new iPhone 17 Pro is the same 6.3 inches corner to corner. We've had this dimension for forever, I feel like, and there really aren't any noticeable physical changes to the screen, the bezels, the dynamic island, or anything else. From the front, it's very familiar, and it's generally going to feel the same in the hand if you're already used to this size. Around back, however, obviously this new iPhone 17 Pro has been completely redesigned. And it's not just a new look either, it's new materials too. Well, old materials actually. Apple has gone back to using aluminum for the housing and frame on this new iPhone Pro, totally ditching titanium, which was like the only thing they advertised on the iPhone 15. It's actually a redesigned unibody aluminum form factor with an off-color ceramic shield glass centerpiece there with the Apple logo. It's a heavier phone this year, it's a little thicker, but it should also be tougher and be better at dissipating heat, partly due to that aluminum redesign, but also thanks to a new vapor chamber inside. More on that in a bit. On the front, Apple introduced a new ceramic shield 2 glass that they say is less glare prone and tougher as well. And we can't forget about that camera bump. This is now called the camera plateau. Yes, Apple actually named it. And not only is it bigger in size, but it does have a purpose. It houses some of the internal components of the phone and leaves room for other more important things, like a bigger battery. Cosmic orange color aside, this is definitely the most different looking iPhone of the past 4 or 5 years at least. And in the hand, with slightly curvier edges, a little more weight, and that added thickness I mentioned, it feels a little different too. I'm sure we'll all get used to this new look, but this year there is no doubt about whether or not you have the new iPhone in your hands. Taking a quick look around at everything else here, on the left side, the volume buttons and action button are all still there. On the right side, the power button is the same as always, just above the camera control, which also stuck around. Up top, a new placement for the also much bigger cell and wireless antennas. And down at the bottom, the USB-C ports there alongside speaker and microphone cutouts. There's still a secondary speaker within the earpiece. And around back, the triple camera setup itself is also all new, but more on that in a little bit. As far as the viewing experience, there's really only 2 changes here. This 6.3-inch iPhone Pro still has Apple's LTPO Super Retina XDR OLED display. It's the same 2622 by 1206 resolution, that unique slightly better than 1080p from previous Pro iPhones, and the 120Hz high refresh rate ProMotion feature is here that makes things look silky smooth and super responsive. What's different this year is the front glass, which I mentioned already. Ceramic Shield 2 is theoretically tougher, more more scratch resistant, which is nice, 4 times tougher if it's dropped, and less glare prone in bright light. The other change is the max brightness. This phone now peaks at 3000 nits, which you'll likely experience outdoors and in direct sunlight. Other than that, this is basically the same viewing experience as last year, which I'm personally totally fine with. If you want a more substantial screen upgrade, well, Apple finally brought 120Hz ProMotion to the regular iPhone 17. That was a long-awaited change. For these Pro iPhones, though, not much else was needed. The dual speaker setup, I believe, is also the same this year. You've got the main one at the bottom there, the secondary one up top, and to me, it sounds exactly the same as my old phone. Here's a really quick sound sample so you can experience that too.
Always caught up in the sound. You're up, I'm down. I kinda miss having you around. You watch me fall apart, time and time again. Couldn't lose you in the end.
Inside, this new iPhone 17 Pro is of course powered by Apple's all-new top-tier mobile chip, the A19 Pro processor. Apple of course says it's faster and better and more powerful, the same spiel they give every year, and I'm sure that's the case. But there's a couple other things inside this phone that I think are far more important. For the first time, Apple has implemented a vapor chamber within the 17 Pro. It's a closed system of deionized water within the aluminum frame that helps move heat away from the processor. This isn't new technology, but it's new to the iPhone, and it should help keep temperatures low and performance at peak operating abilities. This is something I'm really interested in because I feel like my iPhone is constantly hot. When it's charging, when I'm using Google Maps, when it's outside, especially here in Las Vegas. And I hope this vapor chamber actually keeps this phone cool so that I don't get stuck with a hot, laggy iPhone like usual. The Pro iPhones this year also now have 12 gigabytes of RAM instead of 8, so more potential performance boosts, especially if you're a gamer. They also pack some new networking components, the Apple-designed N1 chip, which supports Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 6, and Thread. Allegedly, these phones also should have better cell reception in general too. And these new iPhones have all the new iOS 26 features, liquid glass, and all that, along with what's working with Apple Intelligence. Though your older iPhone will have this new software update too. The other big change inside the iPhone this year is a bigger battery. There's a small stipulation with this though. The eSIM-only iPhones have a slightly larger battery, 4252 mAh, while the international iPhones with a SIM card tray have a slightly smaller, larger battery, 3988 mAh. Either way, you've got more juice to work with compared to last year. And thanks to iOS 26, the new A19 Pro processor, the vapor chamber, and all the other hardware and software optimizations Apple has made, we're already seeing initial battery tests that show these new iPhones last a couple extra hours compared to last year, which is great. Though I'm gonna see for myself if that's the case with my own usage over the next few weeks. If you do run out of juice, the 17 Pro's got a slight bump in charging speeds too. You can allegedly go from 0 to 50% in about 20 minutes now, with power delivery 3.2 support over USB-C, and you've got 25-watt wireless Qi 2 charging as well. Of course, we can't talk about a new Pro iPhone without also talking about the cameras. And this year, once again, the cameras were a big focus. Beyond the camera plateau now being plus-sized, the actual camera hardware is all new. All 3 rear lenses are now 48 megapixels, including an all-new telephoto lens, which supports both 4x optical zoom and 8x optical zoom, along with an even further 40x digital zoom. No one can hide from you now. The selfie camera has also been upgraded in more ways than one. It's an 18 megapixel shooter with an all-new square camera sensor, which unlocks the ability to take selfies in any orientation without rotating your phone. So you can take a regular old portrait selfie, a slightly wider group shot, or a full-on wide landscape selfie with you and all your friends without having to physically rotate your phone. Apple calls this their new center stage front camera. And along with it, auto-sensing faces and groups, I think the ease of taking landscape selfies while holding the phone upright is going to be a much-loved feature for everyone. You also now have dual capture mode. You can record video with the rear camera and selfie camera at the same time. And there's some pro-level camera additions like ProRes RAW video that are outside my realm of expertise. Like I said at the start, It's honestly been years since we've had a new iPhone that's actually new. But this new iPhone 17 Pro, with its all-new design that's not just visually different, but also incorporates some real-world improvements to performance, along with a bigger, better battery, improved cameras front and back, double the storage, and everything else here, well, that all makes this new iPhone actually new. And if you've been sitting on the sidelines waiting to upgrade, maybe you still have an iPhone 14 or iPhone 15 Pro, well, this is it. This is the iPhone I think you've been waiting for. But what do you guys think of this new iPhone 17 Pro? Do you love the color? Do you hate the design? Do you think it'll actually be a better phone? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, of course. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video though. Be sure to follow TechDaily on Twitter and subscribe to the TechDaily YouTube channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys later.